Alyssa Ashcroft was an investigative reporter for the Raccoon Press who focused on social cases. She was among the few who managed to escape Raccoon City before its destruction by the U.S. government's sterilization strategy. She later gave birth to a daughter named Grace Ashcroft. Early life. Alyssa Ashcroft was presumably born in 1970, with her being 28 years old in 1998. Details about her early life remain unknown. Career. In June 1993, Alyssa joined the Raccoon Press as a journalist, where she became close friends with fellow reporter Kurt. Kurt was investigating suspicious activities at a private hospital in the northwestern Arkley Mountains and, recognizing Alyssa's talent, recruited her to assist in the investigation. The case revealed an illegal drug testing scheme secretly sponsored by the Umbrella Corporation. Kurt was ultimately killed by one of the patients, Dorothy Lester, the wife of hospital director Al Lester, who had accepted Umbrella's offer to save the hospital from bankruptcy. Following the incident, Alyssa's memories were apparently suppressed by an unknown party, likely Greg Mueller, a chief researcher for Umbrella. In 1994, Alyssa reported on renovations at Raccoon University that were sponsored by Umbrella. She also discovered that Greg Mueller, the man suspected of blocking her memories, had been promoted to lead researcher at the new facility. In October 1996, Alyssa covered a story about a heavily decomposed body discovered on the shores of the Amaze River, near the private hospital where Kurt had been killed. The body showed traces of unknown chemicals. Alyssa suggested that a certain corporation might be illegally dumping chemical waste into the river. In June 1998, Alyssa received a tip about illegal activities at Raccoon Zoo, implicating its director, Elliot Martin, in smuggling protected plants. Alyssa was not the only reporter pursuing the story. Ben Bertolucci was also investigating, but ultimately lost out on the scoop. On September 8, 1998, a robbery occurred at the Macleod's gun shop. Approximately $800 in cash and several firearms were stolen by Nathan Donnelly and Samuel Kirk. The suspects were arrested by the Raccoon Police Department and remained in their cells during the events of Desperate Times. In the aftermath of Raccoon City, Ashcroft wrote of her experiences in the city in an expose condemning the Umbrella Corporation with an article titled, "What is a BOW?" blowing the lid off this horrifying secret project. This article seems to have contributed to public interest and questioning of Umbrella by the public in the quickly forming case between the U.S. government and the Umbrella Corporation, which later snowballed into an omnibus trial on the destruction of Raccoon City in the sterilization operation, becoming the 5-year-long Raccoon trials. However, given the U.S. stance of denying BOW's existence in order to cover up their involvement in the incident, it was mostly likely at some point deemed as fictitious and conspiratorial material, which helped result in, for a number of years prior to the Terra Grigia panic, public opinion on the existence of BOWs to linger in a gray zone between reality and urban mythology. Even after the Terra Grigia panic, Alyssa's article and many statements made by survivors of Raccoon seemed to still be regarded as conspiratorial ramblings by the general public. During this time frame, along with her efforts to expose further corruption, Ashcroft had time to raise a daughter, Grace, who would find a career in federal law enforcement. In 2016, Ashcroft wrote an article for the Dulvey Daily, a local newspaper based in Dulvey Parish, Louisiana, discussing mysterious disappearances in the town over the previous 2 years. These disappearances became one of the only public accounts of the biological disaster there. A subsequent cover-up and quarantine of the affected region ended any search for these missing persons, and they were not listed among the dead. Wrenwood Hotel case. Alyssa was murdered in 2020 during her investigation of the Wrenwood Hotel. Her daughter, Grace, eventually became an FBI technical analyst and sought the truth of her death 8 years later. Appearance and wardrobe. During the outbreak, Alyssa is a reporter with a no-nonsense manner, which suits well with her outfit. Short blonde hair, closed shirt and red suit and trousers, and brown shoes. It's her trademark suit that follows most of her time as a field reporter. Even during a flashback, Alyssa has 4 unlockable alternatives costumes.